We are rolling.
We are rolling.
Rolling.
Oh.
You want me to begin?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when did you first become involved in politics? Like, what age do you think you became really, interested?
Probably before I knew I was interested.
Okay.
Because there are things that you think about when you're very, very young, like elementary school, or in my case, junior high, that I didn't think of as political. But I realize now they were very much so.
Makes sense.
And an example of that would be the Civil Rights Act.
Okay.
I was in the seventh grade when our schools integrated. Prior to that,
Oh, wow.
black students had gone to one school and a part of town where only black people lived, and the rest of us went in another school. And then after the Civil Rights Act was passed and we integrated schools, then that was kind of a deal. I don't recall it being a big deal. I recall a few people making really racist and bigoted comments, but I don't remember students being treated poorly.
Yeah.
Now, I have even asked some of those people recently, we all have gotten back to getting in touch with our high school people. And one guy that I was particularly good friends with, and he said that he just, he's a really neat guy, he just thought they were going to get to play basketball and football with a bigger group of people. So he was pretty happy. He ended up being a very popular guy. And so that was political.
Mm-hmm.
And remember I told you the story of just thinking it was a fun day when I was little to get to go and eat with my father and his friend who was, okay. And I didn't know that we were sitting in the kitchen because black people couldn't sit in the front of the cafe. That was political.
Right.
And I didn't know that then. I just thought it was a fun day because you could see people cooking.
Okay.
And I like that little boy. We played rocks out in the alley. So I suppose that I guess I became interested in politics of sort in about 1964.
So how old were you?
I was. I can't. Don't do the math in my head.
When were you born in?
I was born in 51.
51.
13.
13
years old.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can't either.
Oh, no.
I can't either. No, you. Joel. Okay, if we have any math questions, you're the guy, which we may.
Do you need it?
Or you can just cut this out. No, I don't need it. I need to turn it off. You want me to turn it off?
I can't have it.
Well, I can get it, but you just try.
Oh, it's over there.
You have such a nice ringtone.
Sorry. Sorry,
So-
David. So that I guess was the first political thing.
Okay.
That I knew was political. Let's
Okay.
put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that was political.
Yeah.
People talked about it on the news.
Mhm.
There was one particularly horrible incident in Arkansas where really just large groups of angry white people called out names to the first little black girl. She wasn't very old. Walking into a Little Rock school, the National Guard had to be called out. It was nasty and ugly, and that was really a part of
Yeah.
the political aspect of it.
Great.
And then, as I mentioned to you before, as time went on, I told you that my mid-teen years were very disrupted with the death of my father. And then just a month later, Martin Luther King was assassinated. And I told you all of that, so you don't need me to tell you that again. And Vietnam was raging.
Right.
And boys did you all know there was a lottery about, when you did,
About what?
about people getting drafted? There was a big lottery on TV, and
What?
like a big fishbowl
No.
with numbers in
Wasn't it
it.
based on
It's
birthdays?
like 100 games.
It was, yes, it was exactly like the Hunger Games. I don't know, really, I don't remember what it was based on. You might have read more,
I think it was based on birthdays, but that might be something else.
but it went up to the 300s. I mean, I don't, yeah, it may have been, I don't know. But I remember watching it where they, young men who registered to the draft, which is everyone, and we had a draft, you know what that is, a conscription. They would pick a number out, and if your number was first, you were going next. And so young men were concerned about that, very concerned about that. And we were concerned for them because we had already had 2 deaths of older guys in our little town. And then, so,
Yeah.
That's
anyway,
great.
so,
So I know we kind of talked about this last time, but not really. So did you go on any like political marches or like stands against the Vietnam War?
yes, I did.
So do you remember?
One was at Texas Tech.
Oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
was very interesting because it continues to be and was a very conservative part of the country. But even at Tech, there was an anti-war movement.
Okay.
And your grandfather will probably, well, he's a little bit older than me, but I don't know if that was still going on or if he'd gone. But anyway, I did. There was a group of us, and I showed you a picture of some of us doing our prom secret prom
Right.
collage that was really about the war.
Yeah.
Opposition to it. Nobody knew it. There's a picture of
Oh,
it.
that's
there. So there were some of us who were very interested politically, and I would not know what the percentages would be among my high school class, how many were, for the war, how many were against it. But I know there was a small group of us, about 8 people, and who were very much opposed to the war. And then we all, we lived near Tech, and so we all knew people who were already in college and were a part of that movement, and so we attended
Awesome.
that. Yes.
And you were in high school?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever like face any opposition for being young, like in high school, and or not really?
I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
You mean for doing that? For doing that thing? I'm sure that my grandfather would not have been happy with
Yeah.
me. And many other of my friends' parents. And really, I think Vietnam was such a fear at that time that if you asked most of my classmates, they would have told you perhaps that they were opposed to the war. I think the majority of them have.
Okay. And then you told me, you talked about this a little, how the year you were 18 was the year they changed the age for voting. Did you vote
From 21. And I believe, I was trying to think of that. I voted for, who ran against Gerald Ford? I do. David. Who ran against Gerald Ford?
I can't remember who the Democrats
I just-
was. Carter.
No.
Against Gerald Ford, yeah, but Gerald Ford took office in 74.
After
The election was
Nixon.
in 76, it was Carter and Ford.
Okay. Well,
Carter?
okay. Yes, I voted for, but I would have voted for someone before then. And I can't think of who, I can see his name.
Can I just look it up?
Talk about the Nixon election.
Yes.
Nixon and,
Um,
oh golly.
my goodness, It's right here. It's right here in the top of my brain. Anyway, I voted for him.
Yeah.
And we can look it up.
Yeah.
I'll think of it when we're talking about something else, so I'll just blurt it out when I think of it. Okay. So what was my question again?
I just asked if you voted when.
I did vote, and I voted for the Democrat.
Okay.
And I voted, you know, parties kind of switched over.
Yeah.
And,
Kind of.
yeah, there was a big flip, and a lot of that had to do with what was called the Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats, who
Okay.
were still opposed to any kind of, well, the Civil Rights Act, or anything that had to do with getting rid of Jim Crow laws. The South was very much against that, so there was a big switch over in who was a Republican and who was a Democrat. But, anyway, and then I remember voting for Carter
Okay.
because my daughter was an infant.
Oh,
A
wow.
man had been born in October, and this was in November. And I remember, you know, strolling her up to the voting place in the stroller.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So since you were super involved in like the civil rights movement and that was like most of your passion, how would you correlate that now to like with us, like big movements now for like the Black community, like Black Lives Matter, like stuff like that? Like how would you, in your own words, how would you say, like what does that mean to you now, like the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think the Black Lives Matter movement is totally appropriate.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. And the reason is because the all lives matter. Well, that's a given. And that goes into white privilege.
Right.
And many of you think we don't have it.
Well, I think we
I
definitely
think we
Yeah,
all
definitely
have it.
Yeah.
So if white lives have always mattered,
Mm-hmm.
then Black Lives Matter. And I think that is a movement that has been, okay, here's what I believe. On every end of every movement, for or against, there's a crazy fringe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who we hear from the most.
Right. Yeah.
Did either one of you get that article I sent you? Which I sent you both.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you got, okay. How maybe, you got it, okay. I don't know why I referred you back to that.
Was it
I don't really remember.
It was about, I was getting ready to write down all of the things I was passionate about, and then I just found it written by a guy that I like, a guy from the Christian left, and he talked about all the things that he was passionate about, so.
a? Okay.
I was hoping,
We can read that.
yeah, I'm sure y'all know. Yeah, and I thought I sent it to you too, but perhaps.
You
I
might
didn't.
have.
Okay,
What campaigns have you been a part of? Like who?
most recently, I was a part of the Beto O'Rourke campaign. And that was a very exciting thing to do. I had not seen Texas politics that many people motivated in a long time. And I'm very sad that he is not coming across well on the national stage, and he has made some comments that certainly did anything to help him. Did not help him. But I do believe that he is a very intelligent, rational, reasonable person.
So do you agree with all of his stances, like in the majority of them?
Probably. I don't agree with his statement that we're gonna take people's guns away. I think that was an emotional reaction after he walked that bloody scene in El Paso
Right.
during the shooting, and he was very, you know, amped up about that. And that was not a smart political thing to do at all, because most Democrats that I know don't want to take anybody's guns away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what would be your stance on the Second Amendment? Like, would you say, that we need more gun control, or like, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, I do know what you mean. I think that we want, or I want, things that make sense. I would like to see better background checks.
Right.
I would like to see the HIPAA laws relaxed a little bit. So if you are a therapist or a physician and someone comes in and says, I'm about to kill anybody, you won't lose your license if you report that. And that's about the extent. I see personally no reason for AR-14s, but that people have them, they're out there. Nobody's going to take them away. And I would advocate certainly walking into anybody's house and taking any of their guns. Guns aren't that important to me personally, but I will certainly kill a snake.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my opinion
Yeah.
on that, on a couple of things.
So what are some like big stances that you've like changed since your youth? Like when you're involved like politically at a young age, and like what are some have any like dramatic like opposite beliefs or ideas changed now?
RV Wade was a huge
Okay.
thing that I have seen change for what and I told you why. I thought that was important. To now that we see states making it, almost illegal for any woman to get a termination for any reason, and I see that as going backwards. So that's something that's dramatically changed.
Interesting.
And like I told you, I'm strongly anti-abortion, but am adamantly pro-choice. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that didn't make sense.
Okay.
How like important would you say like youth being involved in politics is
Oh, I think
to you?
It's extremely
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because that is our right. That is what our country's been built on. Is, they said one vote for every one man, which of course we know they didn't mean that, because even, very later, black people were not considered 100% humans, we know that. But I think it's our responsibility. I get very frustrated and confused by people who say, I don't vote, I'm not interested in politics, so I don't vote, or I don't care who wins, or I'm going to vote for someone just because I'm ticked off at the world, so I'm going to find the most outrageous person in the world to vote for. I mean, although I've read nothing about the others. So that, yes, that bothers me.
Right.
And I just think that it affects all of your lives. You all might not know this yet, but politics and how our government works is going to affect all of you in some way or another. You pay your taxes, what you think about taxes, what you think about other things in general.
So what is like one word of advice or something that you would tell like our youth today to be like more involved? Like
Read both sides
mm-hmm.
and make sure you understand them. Do things like you're doing here.
Right.
I mean, there was a big project done some months ago when this organization randomly selected like 365 people from all over the United States, different parts of the United States. Some were considered liberal, some were considered conservative, many of them were in the middle. You had people who didn't vote, people who didn't vote and wish they had. And they had this huge several-day meeting where all of these people just sat down and talked. And I wish I could think of the name of that, but it's a fairly recent story. But what they came up with is what I come up with when I sit down with people like you, is that we tend to agree on as many things as we disagree on. There may be some hot button issues for some people, but on most things, there is at least an understanding.
Makes sense.
So I think people should get involved with the campaign. I think that you should, one of the things that concerns me is that people appear to, on all sides, tend to choose only to listen to what they want to hear. So if you're a Fox News person, Fox only person, or if you're an MSNBC, only MSNBC person, you're gonna feel like you're living in two different worlds, perhaps. But I still believe in the mainstream media. I believe that our news that we get every night on the major networks, not cable, where many people confuse commentary with hard news, and there's a big difference. You all know the difference. Their hard news guy on Fox just quit this week.
Oh, wow.
So and he was a great guy. I listen to him often. So anyway, I think it's just important to listen to both sides, talk to people. Now that has become very difficult
Yeah.
just recently, and I think a lot of that has to do with the creepy side of social media, where people can just say incredibly horrible things anonymously. And so I just think we have to research and we have to use our sense. And if you're a Republican, watch that Democratic debate that took place last night. And I will tell you, I'm going to be watching the Republicans if they were going to have one. You know. So anyway, that would be my advice.
Right.
So, do you see like a big difference between like youth in your day and like youth today, or is like being involved, like has it become less or more, or like it's pretty even?
I think it's less.
It's less. Why do you
Because you're not scared to death that Joel is not going to just be carted off next week and may or may not make it back.
Right. So you think it's like the circumstances because it was during the Vietnam War? And
I think that's why more people our age, you're like I'm your age, more people our age were involved then, and were physically involved on the ground, going to Washington, going to a university near them, because it was scary. And for women, it was scary to see those boys that we loved and had known as friends be murdered. And I look at that war as murder for something that nobody could explain.
Right.
Nobody could explain that. And you will read things that say, oh, LBJ got us into Vietnam. No. That whole stuff started a long time ago. Eisenhower promoted it. And, you know, it drove Lyndon Johnson crazy. If y'all ever go spend a day at the Johnson Library.
We
Yeah.
for our field trip.
You went?
We did.
Oh, did you listen to LBJ talking to like Martin Luther King?
Yeah, I think
And
so.
all the
It was
different,
so good.
It was
really
incredible.
did they have Motown? They have a traveling exhibit there now on Motown music that's really great.
Oh.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
it's just a little side piece. But yeah, I think less young people are involved. And the young people, I'm afraid, that I see, which is not many, I will be honest about that, sometimes seem to fall in those crazy fringes on both ends.
Right.
Yeah.
And easily and quickly. And I don't know if that's based on what their parents wanted, or if it just y'all are, I mean, some of you have played volleyball today, y'all have done all these different things. And so you're tired. You don't feel like getting all,
Right.
And so I understand, but there will be a time.
Makes sense.
about, like today, like with, the Democratic debates and, things like that, how, like, the big topic is, like, the impeachment of Trump. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we should have impeached him,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, a month after.
Yeah.
No. I think I watched the entire impeachment of Richard Nixon.
Right.
I had just moved to Central Texas to begin my career, and we only had 3 channels on TV at the time, and black and white, my little black and white TV, my little portable TV I brought with me. And I didn't really know anybody, and I watched those hearings from the time I got home until I went to bed, because that's what was on TV. And I think Joe Biden said last night, this is a terrible process. It's a gut-wrenching, awful process, and he was, around when Nixon was impeached as well as when Bill Clinton was impeached. And it is a process, and people have complained about Nancy Pelosi about why didn't you do this sooner? Why? Because she's smart. She didn't want to put the country through this, and I agree with her 100%. So I think it's. I don't want to sound like one of the crazy French. I think that Mr. Trump is a criminal. I think that he knows nothing about anything really that has to do with the government. People voted for him, and you all know he didn't win by very much. In fact, Hillary Clinton got 3 million more votes than he did. So he didn't have a mandate. It was the Electoral College, and the way that floated out.
Right.
But I think that there were people who voted for him because I've heard this all my life. We need a businessman and not a politician.
I've heard that.
Well, they got one.
Right.
But he wasn't a good businessman.
Yeah.
His own companies failed and failed and failed. He went bankrupt numerous times. His father bailed him out. He was in a shady casino business, and that gets involved with organized crime. And I think he is unfit.
Right.
I think his personality makes him unfit. He doesn't listen to his advisors. He does not respect career diplomats who have worked for all different kinds of presidents. Has no respect for those people. And so yes, I think I think it's time for, I don't want to impeach him. I really didn't want to impeach him at all. I wanted to just get really active and vote him out in 2020 with the biggest vote that they've ever seen, a landslide for whoever runs against him. But I think the business with the phone call, and I think you all know about that, and pulling away from the Kurds and I am still anti-war, but we have made these promises to people that we will support them, and then just one day, after one phone call, yank everything out from under them, and the Kurds are being slaughtered.
Right. So what are your thoughts? I feel like we are not well educated on it because it happened recently with the Trump phone call with Ukraine and how he's trying to get them to help him win the election.
Which is against the law,
Right.
by the way. I believe it was George Washington who said the greatest threat to our democracy is foreign governments. Well, here we are at the greatest threat to our democracy. And it's sad.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be enough to get him impeached? Or
So
yeah.
the House today took a vote, and a lot of the Republicans came over to the impeachment inquiry side, and that's what happened President Trump does right now, but it's when the American people started turning away and when the Republicans started falling off. Like, we've even had Lindsey Graham, who is a senator, and Mitch McConnell back away from him. Those are two people who strongly supported him.
Yeah.
And then today, several more, and I don't know how many because I was just listening to it when I came over here, but several more Republicans voted with the Democrats to give them kind of like a supermajority in the House to go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Today, that happened today.
Wow, yeah. Crazy. What are your thoughts on who would be the most fit candidate for the like if we were to overthrow
To go
Trump?
with the group we have now, Democrats.
Mhm.
I'm a Joe Biden person.
Really?
And a Mayor Pete.
Yeah.
Joel
I
was
don't know
so
who that is.
confused. Oh, Mayor Pete or Joe Biden? He was just the vice president of the.
I know who Joe Biden is.
Okay, Pete Buttigieg.
Mhm.
He is a mayor of a large, you haven't heard of him?
I know who Buttigieg is. I don't know his first name. You said Mayor Pete.
Well, that's what he has gone, since nobody could say or pronounce Buttigieg. In fact, his website is mayorpete.com. For one thing, I really think that Buttigieg would be great.
Mhm.
I think he's a moderate.
Mhm.
I don't care what his sexual orientation is,
Right.
one bit. Doesn't, I mean, I don't even think that's a deal
Right.
for most people. I don't know, maybe you all are all
Mhm.
anti or homophobic or something, but I'm certainly not.
Right.
And I think it's gonna take a moderate Democrat
Mhm.
to pull off some of the Republicans who are just horrified by what's going on now. And to get younger people more interested.
Mhm.
And that's, I'm not a Bernie Sanders person, I'm not an Elizabeth Warren person.
Mhm.
They have ideas that I think are just nuts.
Right.
Like, we're gonna do away with all insurance companies on the first day I'm president, everybody's gonna have Medicare for all. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Do you think that's gonna work? I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't.
Yeah.
People generally don't like to be told what they do,
Mhm.
what they have to do, but given a choice, so if you want to keep your insurance, keep it. Let's ease into that way.
Right.
And that makes sense to me.
Mhm.
So I think we're gonna have to have a moderate, but who do I like
Mhm.
is Pete Buttigieg.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And I don't think he's too young at 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a veteran. He fought in the Afghanistan war. He speaks 7 languages.
Wow.
I know. He's an accomplished pianist. He wanted to read a book that was only printed in Norwegian, so he learned it.
Oh gosh.
He's a brilliant guy, and so he comes home from the army and looks around in his own hometown, which is a fairly nice-sized town. It's where Notre Dame is, and sees problems, and he runs, and he wins.
Right.
And when it was his second term, he decided that he had to come out as an openly gay guy.
Mhm.
And he knew that he might lose the election. He didn't know how that was going to flow.
Mhm.
But he had fallen in love
Mhm.
with someone who wanted to get married, and he just put it out there, and he won by an even larger percentage
Mhm.
than he won before anybody knew.
Right.
So, of course, he's in the Midwest, which is still kind of junky, but, so in my mind, that's not as big an issue as a lot of people would have one think.
Yeah.
He's just a brilliant guy,
Right.
brilliant guy.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all should learn about him.
Yeah. Do you think that if Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren got elected into office, do you think that we would be committing like economic suicide by electing them?
No, because like Trump is learning,
Right.
those people can't go in and do anything they want.
Right.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
You know, Congress is a co-equal partner. I mean, the Congress and the president are equal in terms of power.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think that they would just go in there. I like some of what she says.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me. And she was a fierce fighter for consumers when she started that consumer credit division. She helped a lot of people who were struggling during the last recession under President Bush.
Right.
The recession, which I think one day will be looked upon in the history books as a depression. And so I think she is absolutely on top of that. Excuse me. But I don't think she can win.
Yeah.
And she keeps saying, and Joe, in my opinion, Joe Biden is right. She's not explaining how that, I believe in Medicare for all, by the way, but I believe it should start out as a public option.
Right.
So,
Awesome. Y'all good?
Joel always makes faces at me. I think he's,
This guy.
do you want to ask me anything in the whole world? We can turn off the cameras.
Let her know I'll bully it.
I just don't like necessarily agree with a lot of things you're saying, but I'm not here to argue. I'm here
Well,
to
I wish you would tell me. I mean, just pick one. Just pick one.
I don't believe Trump should be impeached.
Okay.
I feel like, although he is a businessman and not a politician, I feel like he's done good for our country.
Okay.
Just because like the economy's doing better, and again, as someone who does vote, I'm not like super knowledgeable about
Okay.
all the things that he's done, but
Okay.
I don't think he should be impeached.
That's your choice.